Prime. All right, so from what I understand here, fellas, he spoke for about on this the Shedeur retirement stuff. Would you say you've had some deeper thoughts on, or?
I mean, I wouldn't say that my opinion on it really changed. I think it's just gotten more and more firm, feeling like it's not right. The Travis Hunter thing, anybody could write off, anybody could explain.
Yeah.
You got 2 Heisman Trophy winners, fine, do it. Cool. But Shedeur Sanders, just the longer that this thing goes on, the more that you think about it. At first I was like, okay, Shedeur deserves to be honored, right? So, okay, what's the big deal? He deserves to be honored one form or another. Not now, not like this.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm like, no, not ever. Not ever should you be retiring Shedeur Sanders.
It was interesting having CJ Charles Johnson on with us yesterday, and he was like, this is Rick George's fault. I was like, oh, okay. And I like Rick. Everybody likes Rick. Rick's great.
I highly doubt it was Rick George's idea. Okay.
But he didn't stand up to it either.
Correct.
He capitulated.
I agree with that.
Yeah. He was capitulant. Or whatever.
But then that makes you?
A capitulator?
Yeah.
Nothing but a bunch of capitulators around here. Bull Durham reference for everybody. Okay, here we go. And this will be a pause and react. So it's long. So if you just want to have Dan pause it for a second and react, we can do that. So go ahead, Dan. Let's roll Prime.
Retired jerseys can be a sore subject.
Not really.
Alums.
This is the first time I ever seen it sore.
That's
I don't know if you know it, but I'm retired, man. I think every jersey Darren and I played in is retired. So I'm pretty familiar with this.
Pause. Pause.
Always about him.
Oh, my God. And that's Pat Graham of the Associated Press, who's a nice guy, just trying to soften the question a little bit because he knows. And Prime is just getting antsy just about the question.
Yeah, he's already defensive. You can see on the first.
Already defensive.
Yeah.
I've not gone anywhere where my number hasn't been retired. We get it. You're you. Pat can't even get the question out, and Prime's getting defense. Oh, man, the rest of this should be a beauty. Go ahead, Dan.
So it's never been sore.
But why do you think that? What was your message like? Maybe Buff Nation and Buff alums who are
I don't have
why
a message. I'm praying for my AD. I love him to life, Rick George. Let's get the elephant out the room. I don't want to talk about this too long. I'm going to just talk briefly and let it go. We talking about Shedeur. We ain't talking about nobody else.
Mm-hmm. True.
But his last name wasn't Sanders. We wouldn't have this discussion.
You're right.
Pause.
Yeah, well, you're right, because the number wouldn't be getting retired. And I hate to say that as a fellow Buff who's grateful for Deion Sanders, but you're right. We wouldn't be having this conversation because their number wouldn't be getting retired.
Correct. Is Prime making an assumption if his last name was Smith?
He'd still be getting retired.
This would be happening?
Yeah, that's what.
What are you, nuts?
That's what it sounds like he's going to.
Okay, go, Dan.
The only reason we were having this discussion is his last name is Sanders. Okay, that's it. It's been so many things accomplished at this university expeditiously. It's been unbelievable, and I think we should be appreciative. We should be thankful. We have a room full of wonderful people that covers us, and I don't know if you all were in this room 2-3 years ago. Very few. Okay, but it's a new day. We're doing things a little different. I think the training table, I think the food is better.
All right, pause. Boy, is he skating the issue here.
Well, but he is getting to the heart of one thing.
Yeah.
It is a new day.
It is.
And we are doing things different.
We don't care about tradition.
So it doesn't matter. And we are going to do the right thing for what we view is going to help our program build.
What Prime is basically saying is this program, whether you like it or not, started 2 years ago when I walked through the door.
Okay, that's a really harsh way to look at it, and I'm not telling you that you're entirely wrong. I don't think in his mind that's the way he's viewing it, but that's the way it can come across, sure.
Well, he's about to tell you why everything's better, why the food's better, why the rooms are better, why the players are better.
But he's probably not wrong on any of that.
He's not wrong about it.
Right?
Okay.
And so, but that was the tough conversation that we debated yesterday and throughout the entire week here. If you want to ask a really tough question, does Deion Sanders really have a responsibility to the past of the University of Colorado, or is his responsibility to the future of the University of Colorado?
If the coach doesn't, then the GM does.
The AD,
or AD,
yeah.
If he resets the culture, does he get to reset rules and define legacy?
Yeah, that's usually the way that it works.
Okay, well, I think that's what he thinks.
Well, Steve Spurrier, right?
I don't think
goes into Florida and says, "No, we're not retiring jerseys anymore," and took his off.
He's not the only one that has success and changes rules.
All right, keep going, Dan.
about that. It's a whole lot of things that are brighter and they're better because someone stands on business and makes it that way. And he's resilient when it comes to it being that way because everything we do is to improve everything for us. I think it was hot in here one time. I said, let's turn the darn air conditioner on a night game, right? The next time we came in, what happened? I think about those details because it don't just benefit me. It benefits what? All of us. So if all of us are happy, all of us should be happy.
Pause. And I think this is what he's hinting at here. And we had this and I'm not telling you got to like it. I'm not even telling you that I like it. I don't. I do wish that we could honor the past. But what he's saying is I'm turning the light bulbs on as bright as I possibly can on this program right here, right now. And I'm getting as many eyeballs on it as I possibly can. And we got a spring game coming up on national TV, and we're making this thing as big as we possibly can because we got kids watching this thing.
If he wants to make the argument the past and history, the legacy of the Buffs doesn't matter because it was so bad until I walked through the door, so we're going to honor those that are the most important when this thing started fresh, then Shedeur Sanders deserves to have his number retired because he was important as anybody. But you were taking 130-something years, or I don't know, Tyler, how many years of CU football? You're taking 100-plus years of football and you're throwing it in a garbage can, and you're saying that doesn't matter. What matters now is when I walk through the door. By that logic, it only matters what happened when I walked through the door. He's right.
Yeah, but what if you softened that a little bit? What if you just softened it?
How?
And you said it's not that I'm saying it doesn't matter. It's not that I'm saying I'm not appreciative of these guys that have come before me. But what I am saying is what's most important right now is I make these light bulbs as bright as I possibly can. And so like you're making it a black and white deal, and maybe that's the way that a lot of people are going to view it, and that's fine. But what if he's just saying the most important thing is building the future of this program?
Let me back up just a pinch. Is Shedeur Sanders one of the most important people in CU football history?
Yeah, I think he is. When you use the word important,
yes,
I would say he's probably in the top 3 most important people in the history of the program. Yes,
Scott.
Now, but if you want to change that to the best,
I'm not saying best,
which is generally what jerseys get retired for. That's a different conversation.
I'm sticking with importance. I'm ignoring best. I'm ignoring successful. I'm just saying important.
I think he's a side effect. I don't think he's more important than Deion.
Okay.
I think Deion's presence is the biggest factor.
I got you.
And he and Hunter are side effects of Deion's importance.
But is Shedeur Sanders, as a player, one of the most important players in the history of CU football?
Well, the most can be, what, your list of 100, list of 50, list of 20?
Whatever. I think the answer is yes to this.
But I'm a guy that when you look at stuff like this, I can't get over the stats.
I got you.
And I can't get over a 500 team.
If you lean on the stats and the numbers, it's rough.
See, I was here going to the games when they were winning national championship stuff.
I got you.
I still remember really good CU football. I remember doing the show with Alfred, and I didn't believe him. He pulls up the stat at the time, and they were like a top 15 program of all time in the entire United States.
But to Dmac's
that's pretty good.
You know, when we just talk about importance, when we talk about relevance, when we talk about the impact, all those sorts of things, he's at the top, man. And that's why there was a way to honor him that didn't involve retiring his number.
Okay, let's hear the rest of this. Someone can comment. Let's go, Dan.
Happy. I'm not going to be critical of you because I didn't get what I want. I don't get down like that. And the root to all of it is personal. Sometimes we got to get out the way, man, and just be thankful for our people, others. Love that neighbor as thyself. That's what the Bible told me. If we loved that neighbor truly, we wouldn't have a problem with nobody else.
Huh?
This should be a big honor for him, and yet it's being met with this. How's
he don't care. Let's get this straight. He's a Sanders. He don't care.
Wow.
Travis don't either. I don't either. I think it's a beautiful day, blessed day. These guys are thinking about the draft, man. They think about where they're going to spend their career. That's what they're on right now. But we're thankful that Buff Nation has been gracious. They've been wonderful. I feel like we have the best fan base ever, especially over the last 2 years. I can't comment before because I wasn't here. So it's hard for me to attach myself to something that wasn't because I was not here. But the last 2 years has been phenomenal, man. It's going to be a better place. That's why I call it home now. I get mail here. I don't know if y'all know it or not.
Okay.
Yeah, for 6 months of the year.
All right.
That's true.
Come on. This is where Prime, it's cringy, it's eye-rolly, and for a guy that we all love and appreciate and value, he loses a lot of people right here.
Well, can I just say what I wish he would have done? And I think it would have softened the blow a lot. What I wish he would have done is defended the choice to retire his number because they made that decision. Not saying you got to agree with it, right? But you could defend that choice because you feel like he's worthy of it. And then at the same time, at no point did we even acknowledge what the guys are upset with. At no point was there any mention of Deion Figures. At no point was there any mention of the Cordell Stewarts, of the Alfred Williams.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it kind of was, though, Tyler.
Well, not by name.
Hold on, just really quick. If you just would have said, look, Shedeur is worthy of this, so that's why we're retiring it. And we love our greats. We love our former players, man. And I can't wait till we get an opportunity to honor them too. Right?
No, that'd have been more appeasing. But when he says, I don't know what happened before I got here 2 years ago.
Yeah, it ain't my hump. That's what we heard from Sean Payton.
Basically, that's not my hump.
Right.
And he just said it ain't his hump. So Deion Figures ain't his hump. Cordell Stewart ain't his hump. Alfred's not his hump. McGee's not his hump.
Cordell.
Johnson's not his hump.
Westbrook. Doesn't matter.
That ain't his hump. And so he doesn't care. No, he just
said it.
Yeah.
First of all, the thought that he doesn't care, Shedeur doesn't care, Travis doesn't care. Well, if none of those three cares, what do you think? This was Rick George's idea? You really does anybody think Rick George came up with this one and had to press Prime to get it done? Give me a break. And this is the eye-rolling, cringy moment when he just says stuff that's clearly not true. We don't care. Oh, yeah, Rick George came up with this. Rick George is like, I'll show Deion Figures this. Let's retire Shedeur's number and not recognize Figures. Yeah, Rick George did that? Please. Nobody's tied to the history of CU more than Rick George. Rick George must have been like, he probably had a hard time sleeping at night before he knew this was being announced. And he's got guys like Charles Johnson who loves him being fairly critical. I feel bad for Rick George in this. We don't care. Come on.
I wish he wasn't defensive there.
Ugh.
I do.
Kills me.
I think there was a way to soften the blow, and we didn't do it, and that's a bummer. That's a bummer. It is because the decision was made. They weren't going to go back. So when I don't mind him being defensive about the decision, right? But acknowledge what people are upset with.
Yeah. And then it's all the whole garbage. Everybody's out to get us. Nobody gives us a shot. Everybody disrespects us. Give me a break. Nobody does anything but kiss your butt up in Boulder, and they have for 2+ years. And they kiss your ass on national TV, on ESPN and Fox, and they kiss your ass on Aflac. Well, look out for the duck. Pucker up, duck.
You know what? He's kind of earned most of that.
Hey, I got it. You know why? As he said, there's not a team I played for that my number's not retired.
Okay.
And this is where he gets it confused between him and his kid. And yes, believe it or not, I know it's harsh, there is a separation between Shedeur, who's great, and Travis Hunter, who's generational. And that must be tough too. One's better than the other. The impact of Travis Hunter is just a little bit more than Shedeur. Now, Shedeur plays a more important position. He's a quarterback. But, I mean, seriously, if Travis Hunter wasn't on this team, what would be happening this year? Come on.
Well, his 2 years, they're 13-12 in overall. And
that's the numbers.
And they're 8-10 in conference play.
That's the numbers, man. And if you want to go numbers, I can take the other side of the coin. We can go back 2 years before that with Carl Durrell. We can put them side by side.
Yeah, but that's where Rick George, when he responds to Joel Klatt, and Joel Klatt tells him, I don't agree with this decision, and he says, yeah, but the impact that this guy has made.
Which is right.
It's true, right?
It is true. You're right.
And Scott, I know you're hung up on the numbers, but I really don't know how anybody could argue the impact. I don't know how anybody could argue the impact that if you want to do the collective trio, fine, make it the collective trio of Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, and Deion Sanders. But what they've done is, I don't think it's debatable. Even without the wins, relevance is something that this program could have never dreamed of. And we're there, man. We're there. We got a bright future. We got Juju Lewis. Like we got an opportunity to do all these things again. And that's why they are worthy of being honored in some shape or form, just not this.
Right.